Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a really powerful idea, a strategy that's all about how to escape that constant cutthroat competition. But here's the twist. It's not about outperforming your rivals. It's about creating entirely new markets where competition, well, it just becomes irrelevant.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Most businesses are swimming in what we call red oceans. You know what this is like. It's the market you know where all the rules are already set and every company is just battling each other for a piece of a pie that seems to get smaller every year. It gets bloody, hence the name. But there's an alternative. It's called the blue ocean, and it's this vast, deep, completely uncontested market space that's just waiting for someone to create it.
So the big question is, why do so many businesses stay stuck in the red? It's a real trap. First, let's really get into why companies keep fighting this tooth-and-nail battle, often just to stay afloat.
I mean, think about it. As more and more competitors jump into your market, your products or services start to feel like commodities, right? The fight for customers gets so intense, you find yourself competing on price. You're offering longer and longer credit terms, and you just sit there and watch your profit margins get completely chewed up. The water turns red for a very real reason.
Now, the deep down reason we all stay in this trap is this really powerful and often subconscious mindset. It's called the structuralist view. It's basically the assumption that the rules of the game are set in stone, that your industry structure is this fixed reality and all you can do is react to it.
And when you think that way, it leads directly to all these painful outcomes. It literally creates this brutal race to the bottom, where supply is way bigger than demand, profits just evaporate, and being different feels almost impossible. It's a game where, let's be honest, in the long run, pretty much everyone loses.
But what if you could just change the rules, change the entire game? Let's talk about the new way of thinking that actually builds a path away from all that red.
So the escape route is what's called the reconstructionist view. And this is a really radical idea. It's the belief that market boundaries and industry structures aren't fixed at all. You can actually reshape them. You can reconstruct them with your actions and your beliefs. It's about realizing that you have the power to create the rules, not just play by them.
So how does this actually work? Traditional strategy always forces this tough choice on you. It's a trade-off. Either you create more value for your customers, which means higher costs for you, or you offer reasonable value at a lower cost. But the engine behind Blue Ocean strategy is something called value innovation, and it just completely shatters that old myth.
So here's the absolute key. The goal is to go after both differentiation and low costs at the same time. You do this by getting laser focused on what buyers truly value, and then you eliminate everything else they don't care about. When you align those two things, you create this huge leap in value for your customers, and at the same time, your costs go down. It's a powerful win-win.
Okay, to see just how powerful this can be, let's look at probably the most famous example out there, a company that created a massive blue ocean in it, well, in a very, very old industry.
Look, Cirque du Soleil didn't try to just build a better circus. No way. Instead, they looked at both the circus and theater and completely reconstructed the experience. They got rid of really expensive stuff like animal acts and big-name star performers. That dramatically lowered their costs. But then they raised the artistic quality and the comfort, borrowing elements from theater to create this entirely new form of entertainment that appealed to adults.
And by doing that, they just stopped competing with Ringling Brothers or Barnum and Bailey. It wasn't even the same game anymore. They created a brand new market space where they were the only ones playing. They were totally in a class of their own, attracting a whole new audience that was happy to pay a premium price for something they'd never seen before.
But hey, this isn't just for creative industries with amazing acrobats. Let's bring this concept right down to earth into a super traditional nuts and bolts kind of business, just to see how it can apply absolutely anywhere.
So you can apply this kind of thinking using what's called the 4 Actions Framework, or ERRC for short. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful tool. It pushes you to challenge the whole logic of your industry by asking these 4 key questions. It's all about reconstructing what buyers value.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. In a lot of established industries, this can all seem a little unrealistic. You hear it all the time. In a market like, say, spare parts distribution, the common wisdom is that the only things that matter are having the lowest price and giving out the most generous credit terms.
But that's the red ocean trap talking. See, by just competing on credit, you've made yourself exactly like every other distributor. You're a commodity. But what if your customer's biggest headache isn't really about credit at all?
What if it's about the time and money they lose when a crucial part is out of stock? If you could offer a service like, say, a guaranteed 30-minute delivery, you're solving a much bigger, more painful problem.
So what would that look like? Well, it could mean you eliminate those high-risk clients who always abuse their credit. You could reduce the huge cost of stocking all those slow-moving parts. Then you could raise your delivery speed to a level nobody has ever seen before. And you could even create brand new services like technical training for mechanics. You're shifting your whole business from just selling a part to managing a mechanic's entire efficiency and reputation.
So how can you start thinking this way for your own business? I mean, where do you even begin to look for your blue ocean?
Here are 3 really concrete actions you can take, starting today. First, stop focusing on your current customers for a minute and look at the people who aren't buying from you. Ask why. Second, get your team together and systematically apply that eliminate, reduce, raise, create framework to everything you offer. And third, look for inspiration in completely different industries. How does a food delivery service handle its logistics? Could any of that apply to spare parts?
And as you do this, you've got to be careful to avoid a few common pitfalls. First, value innovation isn't necessarily about a fancy new app. It's about a better business model. Second, it's about finding what customers have in common, not just slicing them into smaller and smaller niches. And finally, remember this: no blue ocean stays blue forever. You always have to be thinking about your next move.
So at the end of the day, this all really comes down to one final thought. The biggest barrier to creating a blue ocean usually isn't the market or the competition. It's our own thinking. So take a moment and really ask yourself, what are the unquestioned assumptions, the rules of the game, that are holding your business back from its own vast, open blue ocean?